Hi, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Nerd Herd Web Studio Presents How I Do That Thing I Do, and hopefully it helps you. Um, I recently have begun building a JavaScript and HTML based reading game for my 6-year-old son. Um, and when I decided that I wanted to start doing that, I realized that for me to be able to teach myself the code that I needed to learn, I needed to organize that game into smaller, accomplishable tasks. So when I first set out to create the first like 5 levels of this game, I wrote out the way I wanted that story to go so that I knew when I wrote the code that I wanted certain things accomplished, and these were the things that I was going to accomplish. Like in my very first level, the main character, Jack, wants to collect flowers for Princess P on her birthday, but she only likes purple pansies. So you need to click on every flower with a P on it, and you can give the princess a beautiful bouquet. So knowing that, I knew that when I wrote the code, I needed to be able to write code that when I clicked on those flowers, they would change the flowers purple. And so that was the thing that I needed to accomplish. And then, so the next thing that I did was that I took that first level and I knew that I needed to place all of the non-moving parts. So the heading, the instructions, if you had a next button to go on to the next level, that's not going to go anywhere, so you can place that there. And in all of my levels, I have a little toolbox icon where when you click on that toolbox, it's got a word on it for you to learn that helps you finish the level, and there's some grand finishing code attached to that particular graphic. So you place all of those elements because those are all of the non-moving parts that you know they will be there the entire time. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to lay out all of the moving parts, obviously, all of your graphics that are either going to move or have action-based JavaScript attached to them. You want to place all of those on your screen in their first starting position. So take my, I believe it's level 3. You are supposed to pick out presents, and all of the presents are supposed to start with the letter D. So on the shelf that I drew, and my art skills are spot on, so it's an amazing shelf, I had, it's like 6 little toy graphics. 4 of them start with the letter D. So you place all of those graphics where you want them to start in, and then the code attached to those particular graphics will move that toy from the shelf to the table, and so on to finish the rest of the level. And so you want to make sure that everything that's going to move or going to have any sort of action attached to it is placed where it starts from. And then you want to, once you have all of the graphics, because this is the way I tend to like to do things, I can't test any graphics-based code until all the graphics are done. So when I do really start a level, I want to make sure that everything that's going to move or have any sort of action attached to it, I've got that ready to go. Because when I've written the script for it, you want to be able to test that right away to make sure that you haven't missed a semicolon somewhere, or, you know, all of your open tags have closed tags, and all of those problems that you run into when you start writing script to do certain things. I have spent maybe 20 minutes one time trying to get a code to work, not realizing that one of my words wasn't capitalized, and that's why it wasn't working. So you want to make sure that you have all the graphics so you can write all the code so you can fix all your problems at once. And then, again, like once you have all of your functions written, you want to make sure that they all work. So you start the level from start position, do every sort of action-based thing that's supposed to happen and making sure that all of your functions cooperate. They all do what they're supposed to do. There's not any sort of janky, um, any sort of jank in your level, basically. And then, I mean, for me personally, what I tend to do after that is I'm building the game for my son. So I have my son come and play it. And then I know that because he is the age group that I am sort of shelling this game out for, that if he has any problems, other children his age might have problems. So then I can play test it that way and fix any problems that he had, have him play it again. If he doesn't have any problems that next time, I know I'm good to go. And then I can move on to the next part of the story, the next set of graphics, and the next, section of code that needs to be written. So that concludes my very first episode of how I do that thing I do, and hopefully it helps you. Hopefully it does, and I will be back again with more videos as my game progresses and I continue to learn, and hopefully you learn with me and we have a good time.